Hey everybody, welcome back to the program. I'm very excited because here in the Vinyl Pad today, I'm talking with Ryan and Matt of the band Hollow Coves. Thank you so much for being here.
It's good to be here.
Yeah, all the way from Gold Coast. So yeah, welcome here in Los Angeles. You guys got some sun.
Yeah, we were down at Venice Beach just earlier today. We're getting a bit of colour.
Did you guys check out Muscle Beach?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. Anybody?
Pretty hilarious, that place. We went to the skate park as well.
Yeah.
I think it's in like an old Tony Hawk's PlayStation game or skate.
Oh, so, you're right. Yeah, of course it. Yeah, for me, I immediately go to San Andreas, Grand Theft Auto. That's where I go. Yeah, I love that.
No, it's pretty.
Man, that game messed me up a little bit, but yeah. I swear. Sorry, what were you saying, Ryan?
Oh, I was just going to say, it's cool to see these places that you always see in like famous games or movies or whatever. So yeah, it's cool to walk through.
That's the thing I didn't realize when I first moved to LA was like, this city itself is famous. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, screw all the celebrities like, you know, the Watts Tower or the Hollywood sign or like even City Hall. Like, you know, a real functional government building. But that thing's kind of iconic. In so many things. Yeah, but what you don't realize is how far away everything is.
Oh man,
it's insane. Like Venice Beach to here, it's like the tiniest bit on the map, and it took us over. Like it was like an hour and 20.
Yeah, it's not even like miles or kilometers. It's just there's no straight shot. But even if you were to get on the highway, it's just like it's traffic. It's like pick your evil. You either want to hit stoplights or you want to be slowly moving. You know.
Yeah.
You just have to zen out, man. You just got to have. I call it grace. You know, we're all sharing the road.
Yeah.
No one owns it. Please come on over.
Yeah. You have to have that attitude.
Yeah. Otherwise,
you're gonna get angry quick.
Oh, dude. Oh man. Yeah, it's scary too. Like guns. You know, you don't know who's got what? So
actually, today we had someone walk past us and he made it known that he had a gun in his pocket. He just said, I'm carrying, what did he say? He said something.
He had it in his jacket and he's like, I think he was a bit loopy, but he was like, I've got a gun on me, look at it. And he was like pushing it through his jumper.
And we just kept walking and then we're like, well, we're in America.
Thankfully nothing happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What I love about just your overall vibe is just like it's just like traveling music, right? It's just like road trip music, and that's like so apparent in these video journals that you do. Mm-hmm. Like I was enthralled with the most recent one. I think it was from 2022.
Yeah,
and I just felt like I was right there with you. Like that's so genius. How'd that come about?
Well, I think we both originally loved traveling. It's very much ingrained in our culture in Australia. Like, you pretty much talk to anyone our age and they've been overseas somewhere or done like a trip in Australia. So, like our generation kind of flipped to like our parents' generation. It's like we want to have this freedom first and then like retire instead of like working hard and then having the freedom at the end.
Right. When you can't enjoy it, like maybe your joints aren't as good or...
Which could hurt us in the end because maybe we all can't afford houses, but... But at least...
I mean,
we've seen the world and...
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's like one of the... at least that's one of the main themes I get, especially on the new record, is that sort of like, let's move away from this materialistic digital... thing and try to reconnect and like actually have real moments.
I think like Matt said, growing up and that being our lived experience, when we came to write music, it's just naturally what we wrote about, what we've experienced, what we've seen, and I think kind of some lessons that we've learned along the way, and just trying to encourage other people to go out and experience the world. I think it is kind of sad that these day and age, like, you can just be entertained by a phone screen. It will just supply you with an endless supply of entertainment. You can just sit there scrolling for hours and you will be entertained to some degree, but you're not creating memories that will last. You're not creating anything special. You're just sitting there just being filled with rubbish. Culture is very much going in that direction of like the physical things dying down and the screen taking over.
Yeah.
And it's pretty sad to see, and I think we're just in a way trying to push against that culture, because we're like, I at least can be a victim of, like, it's addictive, the screen. You're like, you spend enough time and then you'll find yourself reaching for your phone every 10 minutes or whatever, and it's like, it's actually addictive. So we're trying to push against that in a way. So
and I think that's so key also to a live experience. Seeing a band live is just so different. And like, I've had my own experience of standing in line and like waiting to get in, and you like talk to someone. And it's like you connect, and like, I don't remember his name, but I remember he's from Pomona, and like he drove all the way out there to see the band, and I thought, oh, that's so cool, you know.
But I think on the nature side, like with our music, we are trying to like evoke the same feeling as if someone was going out for a hike and they're escaping the busyness, and they're trying to like push against what society is like doing to us, and like freeing their mind. Like, I guess in our music we are trying to create a sound that like evokes that same feeling.
Oh yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. Like, and I think also the response you've gotten, it's resonating with folks too. I think there's a real need for that. I think that's awesome that you provided it. It's so cool.
And this tour as well, we've collaborated with the National Parks Foundation.
Yeah, I heard about that. It's great.
Which is, we're really, really excited about.
Can you go into detail about that?
I think the original connection was through our label network, they've got an office here, but they're based in Vancouver in Canada. They got us connected. But I think it's a no-brainer. Like with our music, like we go hiking whenever we're in America, like we visit your national parks, and
every tour we've had here, we literally just like write it out and look and be like, oh, okay, Zion National Park's here, this park's here, like let's stop in on the way and try and see some of these beautiful places. So preserving the national parks is obviously something we feel really strongly about because we sing about it. So you
don't want to lose your subject.
So the collaboration has allowed us, like, for every ticket sold from this tour and future tours, $1 will go from each ticket to preserving the national parks, which that's like we're really excited about.
That's awesome. I mean, it's such a resource that I know from experience a lot of Americans don't take advantage of it, you know, even though it's like so close.
I think it's important for people to do, like, every now and then.
Especially with like what we were talking about, like with culture going so much in the direction of the screen, just to like force yourself to get out of the busy, put your phone away for a bit, spend time in nature, just like be still for a moment. I think those things have such a healing effect on us. Like, I don't think we're meant to just be constantly hustling, constantly busy, and like,
no. We're kind of forced to do it, which is sad, but
Well, I think we've come through a generation where it was like all about hustle, and like hustle was like a good thing. It was seen as like, oh, you're going after it, you're hustling, you're like, and that was pushed for a long time. And I think now we're kind of starting to see the ramifications of what that lifestyle does: burnout, like
heart attack,
just exhaustion, and depression, it's a big one. People having problems with mental health, and so I think it's like, it's always like a bit of a pendulum swing. Like, people go too far in one direction and realize, oh, I need to go back this way, and try and find a way to live that is healthy. We don't have it all figured out, but we're able to observe some areas where people are probably getting it wrong and try and push in another direction.
And I think you definitely touch on that, and just there's that sense of what we see on social media isn't necessarily real, right? Or it's like this is my ideal life, and then there's the mental health issue gets played into that, because there's like the FOMO. There's also like, I'm comparing myself to this person. I'm not good enough. I mean, I fall into that.
So do we. Like with our posts, like. The shows are amazing, but it's the in-between parts of touring is not all fun and games.
I don't know how you do it, honestly. I had a small stint as a band, and like I did a little tour, and oh my gosh, like there's long stretches of like what are we gonna do?
Yeah,
there's high highs but low lows. So it's tricky on tour to maintain a healthy lifestyle.
And you're traveling, but you really don't get to hang out that much. Like it's a rarity to spend more than a couple of days, right, in a city. Like I
think that's why like the crew that you take on the road with you is so important, because you're spending so much time with them. So we're fortunate enough, we've got absolute legends. Actually, a lot of them are based from the UK.
Okay, yeah.
So they're pretty much holding us together. They're so much fun.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah. Have you toured with them before?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah. So it's like seeing old friends, like hanging out.
Yeah.
Your YouTube channel is fantastic, just with the kind of videos that you produce. Even the music videos, I was just struck by how well done they are.
Yeah, thank you.
It's like they're very creative, and like they run the gamut of like, you know, more traditional like story driven, and then like super fun. Just you guys hanging out like in random cowboy outfits.
That was a crazy trip. Like Ryan filmed the whole thing and
that's so cool.
Put it together, and because it was crazy. I think there was like 11 of us friends that ended up on this trip, but it was pretty wild. Like we just had like a swag each, which is like a one-man tent. They're really popular in Australia.
Oh, okay.
So we had one of those each to all sleep in the bush every night, and then we just had like one pair of khaki.
Right.
We didn't take anything else. We were just roughing it for 2 weeks, and we were hoping to live off like barramundi fish. And
was that one fish that looked like? Well, you guys had sticks.
Oh, I think that was like I think that's an eel.
That was an eel. Oh.
Wow. We didn't actually catch any barramundi. Like we're so bad at like fishing, but I think we ended up having to have like Vegemite sandwiches or like peanut butter sandwiches. But it was a pretty wild trip. But we made this whole music video out of it. Yeah, and it's
I love that. I love I think it's photograph or.
Oh yeah, photographs.
Yeah, photographs with the you intermix the childhood video, and then like I feel like some of it was in the same house. I don't know. But at least you captured. They felt like you see little Matt, and then you see now Matt in the same room.
That's funny that you caught that because guy who directed it, he saw all the old footage and he saw the house, and he like looked on Airbnb to try and find something that had a similar style.
Oh, cool!
And he found a lot of similar furniture and things to match the same aesthetic. So. Yeah. He'd be stoked that you picked up on that.
Yeah, I thought that. Yeah, it seems so intentional. Like this is like this. I don't know. I just really dig that idea.
No, he did such a good job with it.
Yeah, and I love the paper torn kind of.
That took him so long because he actually did that all in person. It's not like a.
That's what it looked like. It looked like analog or whatever.
It's like a full collage, like taking a photo of each rip, and he did such a good job with it. So.
I thought it had so much style. All your videos and just even this like this, it's simple but to the point. Like everything feels intentional with this album cover.
Thanks. We try our best with that, keeping it all on the same theme.
How does the songwriting? How does that work?
It's usually just quite sporadic, just random.
I think the best way we've now figured out is we write our separate songs, and then we've got a Dropbox folder that we've just got like all these ideas, and we both listen to the ideas that each of us have written, and if there's ideas that we're both really digging, then we'll come together and form a song and like develop it.
I like that.
But on this record, a bunch of the songs we did co-writes with Matt Corby and some other artists, so we'd just be in the room and come up with chords or melodies or whatever, and then it would just all be happening like very quickly. So it was, we'd never worked like that before, where like, for example, Photographs, the song.
Yes.
Matt Corby came in the room, he was like, I've come up with these chords, they feel really cool, like, what do you guys think? And he just played these chords on the piano, and we were like, yeah, that's sick. And then I was like, well, maybe we could add like a guitar thing on top. And then he was like, yeah, that's cool, let's record it. And then he recorded the piano, recorded the guitar, and then he's like, all right, I'm going to jump on the drums. Like, maybe you guys want to like start riffing some lyric ideas or some melodies,
yeah.
and then everything was kind of happening separately but together at the same time, and then it was just all very quickly, and so then it was just like a song was there, and then we were like, oh.
But that's probably only half the record that was written in that way. The rest was like we started the songs from our studio and then brought it to him, and because he played drums, bass, and produced it. So there's actually like a lot of elements that are from our studio, and the demos are like ended up being the final on a lot of the songs.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that. Like, was there a couple of songs or one song that transformed radically in the studio from the demo, or was it of those handful that you guys created?
I think we demoed it like pretty like intensely this record, because the last record we did, we were a bit naive to the whole process and kind of thought a producer would make it amazing.
Yeah.
With just like guitar parts.
We didn't have such a clear vision of how the song was going to sound fully produced.
Gotcha.
Going into the first record, but going into this one and having also produced our own EP previously, the Blessings EP, we'd learnt a lot of recording tricks and production tricks and stuff, and so as we were demoing it, we were implementing some of the things that we learnt, so we kind of had a pretty clear idea of how we wanted the songs to sound, minus drums and bass. Right. And then Matt Corby kind of just came in and brought more flavour, and I think maybe the one that transformed the most would be Milk and Honey. Maybe.
Oh, okay.
Just because, like...
It's a great song, by the way.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah. Just the energy that drums and bass, and then he kind of added this, like, pulsing synth thing as well that kind of just brought
I think just on drum takes for that song, it was, like, something crazy, like 60 run-throughs of drum parts. Like,
the full song.
So you listen to the song so many times before it gets released, and it's really hard to like keep a clear vision of like what you want the song to turn out to be.
Right. That's such a challenge.
Yeah.
Is there anybody that you like trust to like give a good opinion who wasn't in the room? Do you ever do anything like that?
Yeah, we've got like some other producer friends, and even my brother, he's like got a really good ear. There's a few different people that we will just like bounce ideas. Like we trust their ear. Yeah. I think it's so important to have like a fresh ear on things and put things back into perspectives, because it's really hard to like lose track of the original goal.
It can get like if you get too many opinions on something, then it can get confusing. And I think like we've been really lucky in the sense that it's two of us and we're like equal collaborators on this project, and we've generally found like if Matt loves something but I don't, then we just don't. And if I love something and Matt doesn't, then we just don't do it. We wait until we find something that we're both sure on, and then if we get an external opinion and they're like, oh, I don't know if I love this, if we both love it, we'll probably just be like, we love it. Like, and I think you have to be able to back yourselves and your like, or the collective creative opinion on what you're doing as well. So there's definitely been times when we've like gotten an opinion from someone outside, and then they've said, oh, I don't know about this, or I don't know about that. But we've been so sure about it that we're like, oh, we're going to stick with that.
Yeah, that's good,
Well, because Milk and Honey as well, my brother originally helped out with that song, and it was interesting because he was there on the first like writing stages, and then he hadn't heard anything until the final. Oh, wow! When we showed it to him, he was like, "Oh, I didn't think it would turn out like this." But we were really stoked with it. Yeah, he kind of had a different vision.
Oh, wow!
So
interesting.
It's a really interesting process.
Because there's so many ways you could do it, or it's just like we hear famous stories of famous albums, and then when they finally release maybe some of like the earlier takes, it's really interesting to hear how like things have evolved.
There's so many variations of what it could have been, and it ended up what it was for some reason.
Yeah, like eventually it's like you have to let it go. Yeah, it has to become it has to live, it has to breathe, and it has to get absorbed by. Yeah. Not that there can't be a remix or a rework or an acoustic version, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's the official version.
Yeah.
So I understand like maybe not a hesitancy, but you want to get it right. Yeah. Whatever right is for you.
Yeah. And sometimes you always like a bit unsure even if it is right, but you're like, this is it.
Yeah.
We're moving on.
Well, we were even talking today about just like sometimes if you've been playing songs live for a long time, going back and then listening to the studio version, say you haven't listened to the studio version for a while, and then you listen to the studio version and you're like, I forgot that it even sounded like that, because we've been playing it live and there's been things that have taken the forefront in the mix or in the way that we're playing or whatever, and it's
the audience.
Yeah. And so there's a whole nother dynamic that comes in when you're playing the songs live that feels quite different to how it originally was. And you mature so much as artists as well. Like some of the songs are from when we had no idea what we were doing, or even less idea of what we were doing than we currently have.
And I think that
I get you. I mean, we're always learning.
Yeah.
That's the key. I mean, to never stop.
With this album as well, it was the first one that I think we had a clear vision of how it's going to translate to the live show, and we wanted to really build the live show with like more dynamic. And I think it's just experience to like gain that knowledge. But yeah, these songs are really they're translating well live, and the show's really fun.
That's great. As kids, like what was like the first record to really grip you?
Probably I had a punk rock phase like before I got into music, and like NoFX and Blink-182. I had
Blink-182 on cassette tape.
Nice.
And then recently I've just like dove back into In Rainbows by Radiohead.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't know. I think I got into it a little bit, and then I like skimmed over it, and I think just because there's so many good albums out there, and it's actually just like breaking it down, like what you were saying before, like breaking down the different elements. That album's ridiculously good.
Yeah. Funnily enough, actually, while we were producing this album, Matt Corby would be coming up with like little things on the drums or little things on guitar, and as we were in the studio, I was kind of saying, oh, that reminds me of a little bit of Radiohead, and then Matt would be like, oh, I don't really know much Radiohead.
Oh, no.
And then, so we kind of were introducing him to various Radiohead songs, and then that kind of kicked off the thing, and then he's just been on a full Radiohead kick since. So.
That's awesome. Yeah. What's like the playlist you guys go to when you're traveling, or is everyone in their own kind of space?
Bands like Bombay Bicycle Club, Angus and Julia Stone, Bon Iver. I don't know, like you listen to pop as well. So
who are you into right now?
Not a whole lot of pop.
No, it's his guilty pleasure.
I dabble in some things that maybe I shouldn't dabble in, but a bit of T-Swift here and there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, be proud.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a strong army there. You have some allies.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some crossover.
Some Gracie Abrams, who's been touring with T-Swift. Occasional Post Malone song.
Yeah, hey, I like him.
Yeah, just I don't know, a lot of stuff that's actually terrible, but just the melodies and whatever it is, it's just so catchy that it just gets me.
I probably lean the other way, like some more like grungy indie rock stuff. Yeah, like I've been getting into Royal Otis.
I love that new record, man. Yeah, that's blowing me away.
They're killing it. Like Mac DeMarco.
Yes.
Like, love him.
Yes, yeah.
Cramben. I don't know. I think that's why the blend of us kind of works when we both like a song, because it's like we've got these different textures.
I was just thinking that. Felt a little John and Paul here with you too. Like that's what I feel like, yin and a yang. That's like probably why it works so well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you do come from like different, those different tastes.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people reference us, like when we just play like two acoustics and sing, They reference us to Simon and Garfunkel a lot because of our voices.
Yeah.
One's like a higher voice and one's a low voice.
That's a compliment.
Yeah, which we don't hear at all, but...
It's a strange thing as well, because like people ask us like quite often, are you guys brothers? Like,
right.
And like just the voices work so well together, and it kind of was just by chance that we came together. I wasn't like out there looking for a guy with a higher voice than me. It worked out that way, and then people are like, it's just your two voices together just work so well, and we're like, sick. Like we lucked out. I don't know.
Yeah.
This shows us that we're probably not music people. Like when we've said from the beginning, we wrote these songs.
Yeah.
We love playing music, but I don't know if I should say this, but if there wasn't any slight success in the first songs, I don't think we would be doing.
Right.
Like, we probably would just go back to just doing like carpentry and engineering. Like, like those musicians that are just like so driven are like, they're amazing. They're so inspiring, but I just don't think that would have happened for us.
I think music would still be a part of our lives. Like, it would still be something that we'd enjoy doing, but we wouldn't be like pursuing a career in it. And I don't think at the start we ever were. We just recorded some songs and thought, oh, we'll put them on the internet.
It was a project. It was a hobby.
Right.
Yeah. We kind of feel bad in a way that it's happened, but obviously, like it's been like a pretty crazy story how it's all happened, and we're feeling very blessed about it. And obviously, we work really hard because we know it's a crazy opportunity, and we really enjoy it. But yeah, it's just funny how like things work out, because there's so many like amazing gifted musicians out there, but it's also like, I think it's a time and a place, or like someone that has that listens to it and something connects at the right time. Like, it's a bit of luck, and
I know it's a lot of work, and I don't think it's just like, oh, you got it easy, It's like, no, it's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. It's a lot of driving. It's a lot of.
But we wouldn't change it for sure.
Yeah. And it feels like your audience at all these shows, like your fans, like they're like connected directly to you. Like, I've seen these moments where you get people to all jump, and it's just like this moment that everyone shares, and it feels like there's a lot of joy you bring to people's lives, and that's huge.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think we're like one big family in a way.
Yeah.
We're like very like-minded. Like the people that come to our shows in a way, it's like a wholesome show. Like, we're all just like want to just have a bit of fun and like inspire people and put a bit of good into the world. So
I think in that way also it's like it makes it all worthwhile, like the time away from home and like the long touring. Like, it can be quite exhausting, but having these moments at the shows and hearing stories from the fans commenting on, this show was like the best night of my life, or I made a new friend at your show, or like you made me cry, and these all these stories that like it makes it all worthwhile. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And also like just to be able to have people singing the words to your songs, like, it's a pretty special feeling.
Probably won't ever get to know that feeling.
Never know.
I have got some cassette tapes somewhere if you guys want. No, but what I was gonna say is like it brings it full circle to what we were talking about before. Like, these are real, genuine moments that you are creating. You're practicing what you're saying. Like, that's I don't know. It's like putting into practice.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing with any artist. It's like, if it's not authentic to what, like, kind of like your beliefs or your outlook on life, if that's not translating in an authentic way, people see that.
Also, like, when people have asked me or asked like, what did you do in order to like have success, or what would you recommend I do in order to like make my music become successful? My thing is always like, I think you're looking at it from the wrong perspective. Like, don't try to make your music successful.
Right.
Just make music from a place of loving in making music. Like, when we first started out, we only ever made the songs out of a place of like, oh, we love making music and let's write some songs. Like, we never saw it as something that was going to be successful. And so we never wrote from a place of like how can I write a successful song? And I think if you tried to do that, that's when you're going to write the worst songs that you'll ever write, because
in a way it's like harder now to write songs, because it's like
there's like an expectation
that has to like meet.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Like even just like coming back to like you released your first album, you did this, your EP, and that's like, okay, now we're gonna do the follow up. Like I can imagine that's a lot.
Yeah, so we just have to remind ourselves.
Come back to that like initial, just like, oh, I want to just write from.
I think that's also why this album is probably special for us, because we did this full circle, like, I don't know, like kind of going back to the roots of like our writing, and like we're like all the songs on this album, like we're really proud of, and other like the first record, there was some songs that were like, it could have been better,
some filler,
some lessons to learn,
but I guess that's part of the journey. Like we were like so young in our career.
I mean, it's so rare to have those like insane debut albums, right?
It was actually really funny with this record of ours. We thought we were like stepping out a lot. Like it felt like that. Yeah. But then when we submitted it to our record label, they're like, oh, classic Hollow Coves. Which I get it, because it's like the same voices and like similar space, but it's definitely like more bandy and more synthy. And
when I go through and like do a mad, like just give me everything Spotify.
Yeah.
There's a noticeable difference. There's a jump there.
Yeah.
It's not like, it's not like your guys are hip hop now, but it's like, but there's a polish. There's a little bit, it's a little different, especially compared to the two albums.
Yeah.
If you just skip the EPs,
But it just shows like you can really stretch yourself if we thought this was a stretch and people are just like, oh no, it still sounds exactly like you guys.
Yeah, I noticed too, like if you go back to like a lot of the psychedelic movement, like you'll listen to some of those records and like in terms of the sound of it, they'll play like a kind of proto psychedelic song, and then they'll play like an English blues song. Like it's just like it's not like all cohesive. It's sort of like there was like this freedom. Does that ever feel like a pigeonhole for you? Like,
and I think that's where, like what we were saying before, like some songs on this record definitely to us felt like they were quite different in a way, in genre or like in the feel of it compared to what we'd done previously. So we did have a conversation of like, does this song fit with all the other songs? But I think we're more coming to a mindset now that like songs, they come at the time that they come, and if you don't release them at that time, like they might not be relevant in a few years. We might not feel the same way about them in a few years. And so while you're loving the songs, you need to put them out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, who knows what will change over time. I also remember this quote that Chris Martin said, something along the lines of, every album that he puts out, as soon as it's out, he like thinks it's terrible and then wants to make something better.
Yeah.
And so I think that's like you just write and record what you write and record, and then you put it out, and then, or you put out the best of what you can make at the time as a collection, and then you move on and just try and do something better. And I think like this album for us has been an evolution. It has felt like we've learnt a lot of lessons from our past stuff and just like putting out the best thing that we could now. But hopefully we just continue to grow as songwriters, grow as producers and creators of music, and hopefully the next one's even better, or we can be more proud of it. Or it's quantifying better is hard with art, but
I know what you're saying. I mean, I'm sure there's like things you've listened to your first record, like, oh, I wish we did this a little different, or that was recorded better, or whatever. Things that most people would never ever hear.
Yeah.
So I understand that aspect of wanting things better, but also it's just like you like you said, touring, it hones you. Like the songs change, and it's like you get new ideas, and so like it's better in the sense that it's more reflective of who you are now.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? So I think that's great.
Yeah.
But I think that's why like older music as well is so appealing, because the way they captured it was like you can just be endless with like the processing and like the editing stage. It's like there's something more authentic to old records and like the way they captured it. So I think people really hear that. Like when, I don't know, like obviously it's good to sometimes tune vocals and stuff, but some, like the connection of just a raw vocal to an untrained ear is probably more appealing, because they're like, oh, it actually sounds real.
Right.
And I think that happens with shows as well. Like we've done shows that we've like, oh, like that was a perfect show.
Yeah.
And the audience, well, we like ask someone, like a friend in the audience, and like, oh yeah, it's all right. And then we play the show that we thought we had heaps of mistakes, and they're like, that show was the best, and it like really connected. Wow. Because people like it being a bit human and like having a few mistakes, like a show that's like probably 90% of the way there is always better than a show that's 100%.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. I wonder if there's like an element of like the mistake gets you more present or brings you back to the moment. I don't know if that's...
I think people just realize that it's, oh, there's just a guy up there that's not perfect. So I think there's a bit of this. So, I don't know, it's weird because it's like, obviously we want to perfect it because it feels really good to us, and it's the same thing as, the recordings, like getting that perfect vocal take, but it's really hard to choose what's the one in the take. Yeah,
because it could feel, or it could feel, like you said, it could feel like, oh, that was a terrible take, but then Matt's just like, oh, that was, it was amazing.
That's something about that. There's too many elements. It's actually crazy.
Yeah, you don't want to overthink it.
That's the thing. As soon as you start overthinking, it's like, it's not there.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's one of the strengths of your writing of the music, is that it's clear, like your message gets across, like, and I'll be honest, I'm not a huge, like, lyrics don't always jump out at me at first. Like I have to really train my ear to listen to lyrics.
I'm the same.
But with your music, it's just like I can hear it all at once. Like I get the message, I hear the music, I feel the vibes. Like I don't know, it's just sort of cool. It doesn't take me like 10 listens to like, oh, that's what he's saying.
I'm the exact same. Like I always the lyrics just go over my head generally when I first listen to a record, and it's the music that I'm like, oh, this is amazing. And then I might return to the lyrics, but barely, like, probably don't even really most of the times. Yeah,
it confuses me when people are like, oh yeah, the lyrics are so good. And I'm like, but the song is just like, it's like a 1-4-5 and it just doesn't go anywhere. Like, why, what?
Yeah.
But I have to respect that, and then it's like I have to force my, okay, there's some storytelling here, like, okay.
It's definitely important, the lyrics, but it's interesting, like music people, like a lot of us kind of listen to the music side, and then the people that aren't into music, like my wife, she's all about like the lyrics first.
What about you, Ryan?
I'm the same. Never would really listen to lyrics. Yeah, and it's been
even as a pop music guy. Yeah, it's just about the earworm.
Well, pop music is some of the worst lyrics in songwriting. Well, not all of it. Not all
come
of it,
on, shake it off. That's pretty good. I'm just saying. No,
but a lot of pop music is terrible. Some of it's great.
Sometimes it's the pronunciation.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah.
You can't rhyme that word just by changing how you say it. You can't do it. I mean, but then, whatever.
There's no rules.
There's no rules.
Melodies are definitely the thing that's always caught my ear about a song. And so it's like, it's definitely been an interesting, because I don't consider myself a writer. There are some people who are just like every day writing poetry or whatever. And I don't consider myself a poet or anything like that. And it takes us a long time to write songs. Like we spend a lot of time on lyrics because we're probably not very good at it, or like it's not something that comes naturally to us because it's not something that we listen to and like intently when we're listening to music. Although we have been forcing ourselves now to listen to more lyrics and try and learn from that, but it's been a process because it's not something that naturally we would gravitate towards. So we're getting better, I think, hopefully.
I think so. Yeah.
I think lyrics are a funny thing because the melody always comes first for us, and then words just seem to follow. And we sometimes just start with gibberish, and then all of a sudden you have a song concept and you're writing a whole thing around this, and it's like, where did that even come from initially? Or it's kind of a strange concept.
Yeah. I was going to say Purple was like one of my first favorites.
Yeah.
It just like jumped out at me. I was like, what is this song? And then the video for it, like, it was really cool.
Yeah, thanks. That was actually like one of the first, well, it was the first single for this album.
Yeah.
But we did that with a different producer based out of Sydney, Andy Mack. He's like more of a pop producer in a way, like not as like indie and organic as Matt, but his producing style is like real clean, and it's like his engineer's amazing. So we wanted to try that out, and so I don't know how we got onto Matt Corby was a whole different story, but it kind of fit. Like once we finished all these songs with Matt, we were like, it'd be cool to have Purple in a collection, and we're like, it does fit into this record.
Yeah, it sounded like it just fit in there. Yeah, exactly. It didn't jump out in a bad sense. It just was like, just the melody and just the vibe. Like that's what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
I
thanks.
Really dug it. Yeah.
We also had on Purple, there's a band in Australia that we love called Middle Kids.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, so good. I'm like a big fan, but I actually didn't really know much of their stuff prior to recording Purple, because Andy, who produced it, was like, oh, I know this drummer, he's in the band Middle Kids, he can come and
that's awesome.
record drums on the track. And we were like, yeah, sick. And so he came, Harry Day, he came and just basically just sat at the kit, listened to the song once, and then just played the song, and I think he did like 2 or 3 takes and it was done. He was just like one of those amazing drummers who just got it straight away. So that was really cool. And then after that, I started like diving into Middle Kids, and now I'm just like a full-on fan. So
that's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Have you played a lot of shows in Asia or Indonesia?
No.
Okay.
No. We did one festival in Jakarta.
Okay.
Which was interesting.
It was so interesting. They hired a specific guy that his name was the Cloud Pusher. So he controlled the weather.
Okay.
So the forecast for the festival was rain, but the guy who ran the festival assured us, like, you don't have to worry about
it. We've hired this forecast guy that he'll push the rain away.
And we've hired him 10 years in a row. We have never had rain. And so he was like, you don't have to worry about it. And we're like, well, the stage that we're playing doesn't have cover.
Yeah.
And he's like, we've got a guy, like he'll push the clouds. It's fine. Like he uses his energy. And he'll push the clouds away. Like, you don't have to worry. And we're like, well, is there a plan B? He's like, no.
But he was so, like, sure that...
And sure enough, it was raining.
Like an hour, I think it was like an hour before we went on stage, it was like the biggest thunderstorm.
Wow.
And we're like, maybe they didn't pay him enough.
I love how that's your first thought. Not that, like, this guy... he's doing the shakedown for this festival.
They covered our, like, 60 grand worth of gear on stage with just, like, rubbish bags and just taped it all up. It was very, very Indo style.
What was the resolution of all of this?
Well, we were playing, like, so far away from the audience because they had, like, this tiny little part behind where the stage was that was undercover, so they moved everything
to that.
Back so under that was there.
Plan B.
Yep. And then the other part that was quite strange, so it was like the auditorium kind of style, like tiered seating.
Yeah.
But where the crowd was sitting, they said like, oh, we can only have half the capacity here because otherwise it will collapse.
And our green room was underneath the auditorium, like where everyone sat. So we were there before the show, and we're like, jeepers, hopefully this doesn't collapse.
Because they had to stop people from coming in because they said, oh, you can only hold so many people. We're like,
because they said it was sold out, and then we saw it and we're like, this is not sold out. And then they told us.
Oh, wow. That's like a real rock and roll story there.
Yeah, so
it's very interesting. But it was fun.
Yeah. We would love to go back to Asia and do more Indonesia and
yeah, because it's not that far for you.
No.
Yeah, it's like a quick little jaunt.
Europe was actually, funny enough, like our first market that we kind of developed. There's a big like scene for acoustic music over there.
Yeah.
America was hard because of visas, so
okay.
that came like a bit later. Mm-hmm. Our manager's based in Canada.
Right.
So yeah, we're very scattered. Band in England, manager in Canada. We're in Australia.
Like, what time do you guys pick for a Zoom meeting, you know?
It's hard.
Yeah. But you make it work.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and you're here, so thank you. Yeah.
Well, thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thanks for coming by. It's so great to talk to you and hang out.
Yeah,
likewise.
Appreciate it, yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Revival Geek, and I'll catch you on the flip side.